You know, they act, the Sun this morning and the Daily Mail this morning and the rest of them act as if this was a Saddam Hussein majority in the referendum. It was a very narrow majority. It was a majority, and that's democracy. And it's got to be recognised. But it's 52-48. Any sensible governing party and sensible governing Prime Minister who was able to stay a Prime Minister given the forces within the party, the governing party, would say, look, we will actually try and get a deal here that leaves the European Union in line with the referendum, but actually protects our economy. That would be a one-nation Brexit. I would still be deeply, deeply unhappy about it. I think it betrays all the values that Britain at its best stands for. But at least that would be something that you could build unity around. So I think you've got to continue to press your MPs. You've got to get your local businesses to speak out and to lobby their MPs. Now, Tony, you will understand the business world's predisposition, quite understandable and perfectly explicable, and I sympathise with it, not to get involved in the politics and the argy-bargy of politics. But I tell you, this is beyond politics. This is beyond parties. This is about the future of the country. And I think not enough businesses have actually told the truth about what's happening to them, if they understand what's going to happen to them. Because I meet so many businesses, particularly small businesses, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, who simply have no clue what is actually going to happen to their operations if we just fall out of the European Union. So get businesses to speak out and get them to lobby their MPs, at least to stay in the single market and the customs union, or if not, the EU single market and EU customs union, to save face, and that may come to that. There's exactly the identical arrangements for something called something different, but exactly the same, rules of origin arrangements, same regulatory arrangements, same frontier arrangements, standards, all of those things that provide for invisible borders across the island of Ireland and provide for virtually invisible borders through the port of Dover and into Calais and out the other end. The second thing is, press for the equivalent customs and single market arrangements as we have now. That is the single most important strategic thing I would be campaigning for if I were in your shoes. The customs and trade bills have still got to come. And there are a whole series of European implementation bills, I think it might be 9 in all, still got to come as part of this process. So there's still battles to be fought. Don't feel after tomorrow, if as things go as we expect, I'm afraid, that we've lost. This is just early trench warfare. There's still a lot of battles to be fought, and there's still a war to be won. Finally, and I end on this, I think we should demand a people's vote on the final deal. After all, this whole process was begun with a referendum, and I think the only way you can end it is with a referendum as well. Not a, quote, second referendum, because that implies you're trying to countermand the first one, but a referendum where the people say, is this really what we voted for? Is this final deal really what we can live with? Is this good for the country? So that is the additional thing that I would urge you to vote for. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Happy to take any questions.